Hi, welcome. This is a video for families who are interested in studying grammar and would like to know more about the Classical Academic Press Well-Ordered Language program that's provided here with live instructors at Scholé Academy. My name is Amy Morgan, and I'm the department chair for the Writing and Rhetoric program and the Well-Ordered Language program. And today I have with me a couple of our Well-Ordered Language instructors, Kara Lobley and Kat Wise. So let's see, why don't I give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves, tell about the courses that you're teaching this year in Well-Ordered Language, and whatever else you'd like for our audience to know today. Kat?
Yeah, well, I think the most noteworthy thing about me is I love books. I read a lot in all my spare time, and I love to talk about books with people. So that informs both my time at Scholé Academy and my time in my, personal life. I teach, in addition to Well-Ordered Language 3, I teach a classic literature class, and then a couple of one-semester geography courses. And then over the summer, I offer as many book clubs as I can. So it's a fun excuse to get to reread some great books and talk about them with a lot of people. Other fun things about me, I've lived in 3 countries and 3 states as an adult, and I love to solve puzzles in any form. So jigsaw puzzles, the daily Wordle, anything like that. I like to do puzzles. So that is how I do my off times when I'm not teaching. I try to do, jigsaw puzzles and listen to audiobooks so I can combine all my loves at once.
Thanks, Kat. And remind us what Well-Ordered Language levels you're teaching this coming school year in the 26-27 school year.
26-27. How are we here?
I know, right?
Yeah, level 3.
Thank you. All right, Kara, tell us about yourself.
And I'm Kara Lobley, and I teach Well-Ordered Language 1, 2, and 4. And some cool facts about me are that I have been trying different recipes for muffins for the past year. I have used a new recipe for several weeks out of the year. And I also enjoy hiking and visiting different locations of different national parks and historic sites, especially the ones that are in the Well-Ordered Language 4 book. The Well-Ordered Language 4 book has a list of different sites, such as the Vulcan in Birmingham, Alabama, or Venice, Florida. And I have visited as many as I could so far and have made a list of wanting to visit as many as I can. And I use those in my Well-Ordered Language 4 course. And we also do a little bit of geography as well as some history. And in Well-Ordered Language 1 and 2, we do a little bit of some science for different facts about the chapter illustrations or history, whatever the case may be.
That's fantastic, Kara. It's really fun to hear how your own interests are just woven naturally into the curriculum and to your own classroom. So do your students get a chance to see pictures of places that you visited since it's referenced in the stories that are in the grammar book?
Yes, I have made slides with some pictures of places I've visited, and I found some pictures from places I haven't visited so they can see those too, because I really enjoy making the places come to life for the students.
Thank you. Is there any other, I don't know if Kara has more to share about this or if we're ready to talk to Kat, but do either one of you have more favorite memories or features or activities that are true of your Well-Ordered Language classes and levels that you teach?
Well, in Well-Ordered Language 1 and 2, because I've already talked a little bit about 4, but in 1 and 2, the kids really love the games that we often play, such as airball or charades. And of course, the semester-ending Jeopardies are always a hit. A fun way to review and to practice the knowledge that we've learned.
Wow, that
I hear about
so interactive. I'm sorry, Kat. That sounds so interactive because I think people sometimes think an online class is just going to be like a TV show, but you're talking.
It is not.
You're talking about games that the kids are playing, so that's really, really a good reminder for the families who haven't already experienced Scholé. I'm sorry, Kat. I think I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I hear about those games in my class. It's legendary. So they're popular. I don't know. We don't have as many fun games. We do other fun things instead. So I guess as, level 3 is, we consider that advanced grammar. And so the students are middle school-ish. And I like seeing them really start taking a lot more ownership of their own, assignment submission and their own time management. I see them mature a lot in this class in particular. compared to some of the others that I teach. And so it's sweet to see them develop as people and as students. Each class is different and really develops their own unique personality. And it's always fun to see what inside jokes we carry forward throughout the year. One of the things I enjoy, we start class with I call it our creativity journal assignment. So I put a piece of artwork on on a slide, and then students write sentences based on whatever grammar principle we're working on. And that's a fun way to get built-in practice every time. It's one thing to analyze sentences that you're given, and it's another thing to come up with sentences, practicing that skill yourself. And so it's stretching, it's not always easy, but it's just a fun part of our class. And then another assignment I really enjoy is we do book scavenger hunts. So every 2 weeks, I ask them to look for examples on their own bookshelves for whatever topic we're studying. And it's always fun to see which ones are easy to find in other books and which ones are challenging. And I see responses from, this year, a very popular one was Number the Stars. I saw a lot of sentences from that. I can tell who's reading, something classic, something current, the Bible. They can find sentences from all different places. And then one last fun thing about level 3 in particular, there's a category of words during which we dress for that class. So sometimes we come with hats, and other times we've got our scarves that fit with what we're talking about. We come with crazy socks. So yes, even though this is grammar, it's not dry and boring. We have a lot of fun, a lot of laughter.
That is perfect. What you both have described today really reminds me of the principles that we try to practice at Scholé. It's not, it's restful, it's personal, it's engaging, and yes, it's classical. So, I mean, you sound very engaged, and it sounds like, more importantly, your students are engaged with grammar, a subject that some people think of as dry, but this does not sound dry to me. All right. Well, you've both been teaching grammar here at Scholé Academy for several years now. So at this point, I imagine that sometimes you get questions from parents who are considering enrolling their student into well-ordered language, and they're not sure what to expect. What are some questions that you sometimes get from parents at that stage of their decision making?
Questions I receive most from parents revolve around readiness. And actually, the beginning of the summer is a great time to be asking those questions because there's still a lot of time to make up any gaps, whether that's with a parent at home or with private tutoring through the tutoring center, or there's actually a prep course that Classical Academic Press publishes to prepare students specifically for level 3. That's why I know about it. So I teach a course covering that over the summer, but it's also available for parents to do at home. So there are a lot of ways to help prepare students for whichever level they are attempting or feel that they're ready for. But I was talking to Kara recently. She had some great thoughts about this. So I'm going to pitch that over to her.
So as Kat said, one of the questions that often comes up is for readiness. Is this level, can my student get into this level? And that question always makes me think, what is the best fit for the student? What is the best place for the student to thrive? So we have some target ages on the website that talk about some target ages or grades, but that's just the average. Every student is different. As Amy mentioned, Scholé Academy is very personal. So what might be a good fit for the average student might not be a good fit for your student. And as the parent, you know your student best. Does your student need extra support? Does your student pick up things really quickly? Does your student need some extra practice with a concept? Is a corporate class the best fit? Is a private class the best fit? Is tutoring the best fit? Because there's tons of options that we offer through the tutoring center, through corporate classes. There's also preparation questions of what does my student need to know? And the previous level usually covers what the student needs to know. So if a student is trying to get into well-ordered language theory, it would be helpful for the student to know the topics covered in 1 and 2, or trying to get into 4 to know the topics in 1, 2, and 3. There's a student who doesn't know most of well-ordered language theory might find well-ordered language 3 a better fit than 4. But we cover a lot of these during the assessment period, which is a time from when the student signed up to the beginning of the school year, where a instructor will send out an assessment to the families just to confirm, is this the right fit? Because we want the student to be in a place where they can thrive and even enjoy grammar.
Thank you. I know I'm going to throw you guys a curveball. We did not talk about this question, but as I was listening to Kara, I just thought of another question that I've sometimes heard from families. A family has been studying grammar in some other curriculum, and their students have learned some definitions, and they may have piddled around a bit in diagramming, or they may not have ever done diagramming. Maybe they did some sentence analysis, or they did a lot of fill in the blanks, but they know the definition of a prepositional phrase, but it may not match up with the one that you've been doing. And so what is that like for a student who might be transitioning from one grammar curriculum into well-ordered language? How hard is it for them to get used to the diagramming that you do, or will their definitions be acceptable? So how does that work? If either one of you want to respond to that.
I can start, and then Kara, if you have something to add, please do. That is a big part of why I offered that prep course during the summer. It is prep for level 3, but it is targeted for students who have studied grammar elsewhere. It is not let me come in blind and all of a sudden start in level 3. It's for students who have an understanding of the different, parts of speech and how to find them, but maybe don't know our well-ordered language method of analyzing. And so that's the goal. And it is learnable. If a student actually understands what a prepositional phrase is and how to determine if a modifier is adjectival or adverbial, then they can easily transition to, I draw the arrow this way, or I'm going to put it here on the diagram. Because really, the diagram is it's like a puzzle, actually. This is part of why I like grammar, right? So it's finding where a puzzle piece fits. And there are only so many ways to show that, and they all make sense. And so even if you've learned a slightly different way, it's not really that challenging to find, to adapt to a new way if you actually understand why you're doing what you're doing. So if a student has good understanding of those parts of speech, it has not usually been very hard for them to transition. I have a page that has our sample script, like how we do the analysis. And I do ask students to try to do it that way. But honestly, if they've been doing it for a long time a different way, I'll take it, We try to push towards our way, but if it's right and they're doing it correctly, they show understanding, that's our goal. Kara, would you add anything to that?
Well, I'd agree with what Kat said there about how the understanding, how I do a similar thing. If the student has a different definition or the order of analysis, the script that would we go through the grammar. If it's different, but it's right, I accept it. The most students I've had who, as Kat said, truly understood the grammar and come in to our course from a different one, I usually pick it up, catch on pretty quickly. This is where knowing what was studied in other courses versus what's this course will be helpful, because sometimes a student might come out of another course's level 3 that's taught up to our level 2. So we can't always go by whatever level it was. You have to look at the topics taught in each course just to make sure my children have studied compound sentences, but they haven't talked about verbals. So 3 would be a good fit.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for clarifying that. And our last question for today, Kara and Kat, is maybe we could have put this as the first question, but why should a student study grammar in the first place? And maybe we all assume that is a good thing for students to study, but 3 to 4 years of studying grammar, what are the benefits of studying English grammar for students? And can it be too early or too late for a student to begin studying English grammar? So, Kat, do you want to start?
I do think it can be too early to study formally, but children start learning grammar as soon as they're speaking, right? Or even listening. And so we are always on that journey. So is there a time that's too early to start our official well-ordered language program? Sure. But don't think that means your student hasn't learned any grammar. They're picking it up. I think we often are putting definitions around what students are already doing. I often find that I'm saying, no, that's advanced. I want you to write a sentence that uses these skills. No, that's more complicated than we've gotten. Rein yourself in, because we want them to understand why they're doing what they're doing. So I think it all revolves around being a good communicator. We are going to spend our whole lives, hopefully, communicating with the people around us, and we want to be able to do that well. And so I think the benefits, of course, are, both in an academic sense and in just a practical life skill sense, are found in how effectively we're able to communicate. We want to project maturity and confidence and eloquence, and we are learning best how to do that. But I really think that the instructor who teaches level 4 is best equipped to answer, why go all the way through? Kara?
Going through four is such a wonderful class. And not only is it using fun facts about geography and history, but it's also giving students a chance to practice and put into place the more complicated grammar. And it helps them become more expressive, more, as Kat said, more eloquent. For example, although well-ordered language 3 teaches verbals, well-ordered language 4 talks about verbal phrases, and writing and rhetoric in level 3 starts talking about those different verbal phrases. And if a student hasn't studied that, they sometimes become confused over what is a verbal or what is a phrase, what does that mean? Why should it be in my sentence? Well, it should be in your sentence because it makes them sound different from the other sentences and makes it more interesting for your audience. And it also gives you a wider variety of knowledge and styles, tools in your tool belt, if you will, for expressing what's on your heart. These things that you've observed and noticed and studied and you want to share them with the world. Well-ordered language gives you the tools to do that.
Thanks, Kara. Thanks, Kat. Yeah, what Kara said reminds me of the work that I do in the writing and rhetoric program, that a lot of times the feedback we give to students, they can't understand it if they don't know what a subject or a predicate is or what it means that they need to have, that their pronouns are missing an antecedent. And so when they have that vocabulary from their grammar classes, then they're able to translate into how well and how beautifully, as Kara said, it adds beauty to their writing when they know how to add modifiers and they know where the modifiers go and what are they modifying. Yeah, it adds beauty to their, and it reminds me also of the copiousness exercises that give the students choices about the kinds of writing that they want to do, and just figuring out what their own voice and style of communication is. So yeah, thanks, Kat. Thanks, Kara, for your time today and for your time every day teaching hundreds of students grammar over the years. And families who were able to watch today, I hope that this video today has served to help you to become better acquainted with the Well-Ordered Language program, with Scholé Academy, and what makes our method of teaching here personal and playful and restful and engaging. And also for you to get a chance to be acquainted with at least a couple of our Well-Ordered Language teachers here, Wise and Kara Lobley. If you're interested in enrolling or in finding out more about these well-ordered language classes, or even some of the summer reading clubs that these ladies offer at different times in different years, then you can look for our grammar courses or other courses at scholeacademy.com/courses. And there's a filter bar over in the left side that will help you to select according to your students' grade level or the subjects that you're curious about. And you will see Kara and Kat's faces among the instructors and learn a little bit more about them and their bios as well. So thank you everyone for watching. Thanks again, Kara and Kat, for your time today.